By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what's happening in your body during every phase of your menstrual cycle. And more importantly, what to do about it. Most women are given a calendar and told to track their period. That's the bare minimum. What nobody tells you is that each phase comes with its own psychological profile, its own cognitive strengths, and its own specific biological needs. So sit back, grab a cup of water, and let's get into it. Because once you see this, you'll never look at your month the same way again. Most people think the cycle starts when your period ends. It doesn't. Day 1 of your cycle is the first day of actual bleeding, and that's not arbitrary. Here's what's happening underneath the surface. Estrogen and progesterone have both dropped to their lowest point in the entire cycle. The corpus luteum from the previous month has broken down, and your uterine lining is shedding. This is the menstruation phase, and it's often misunderstood as the week your body is simply malfunctioning. It's not. Think of it as a reset button. Your system has cleared out, and it's preparing to rebuild from a clean foundation. Physically, you're working with lower estrogen, which means lower serotonin activity. That translates to lower mood baseline, less tolerance for stress, and a higher sensitivity to pain. In practical terms, this is why cramping can feel so intense and why you might feel more irritable or introverted. It's not weakness, it's chemistry. Here's what most women aren't told. The menstrual phase isn't just a waiting room between cycles. It's actually a period of heightened interoception, which is a fancy way of saying your internal awareness is sharper than usual. Studies using fMRI brain imaging have shown that during menstruation, women actually show increased activity in brain regions associated with emotional processing and self-reflection. You're essentially operating with a built-in sensitivity upgrade. The application is simple. The menstrual phase is your best window for deep self-assessment. Big life decisions, journal work, honest conversations you've been avoiding. This is when your brain is literally more wired for that kind of honest self-scanning. Fighting it by forcing productivity feels like swimming against a current. Working with it feels completely different. Now, as soon as your period ends, something shifts. Estrogen begins climbing. Follicle-stimulating hormone, FSH, signals your ovaries to mature a new batch of follicles. And here's where it gets interesting. As estrogen rises, it triggers increases in both serotonin and dopamine. You're moving out of the reset phase and into a rebuild phase. This is the follicular phase. It typically lasts about 7 to 10 days, and it's characterized by rising energy, improving mood, and significantly enhanced cognitive performance. Your brain is coming back online. But here's what you might not know. Estrogen doesn't just affect your mood. It's a cognitive amplifier. Research published in the journal Hormones and Behavior in 2020 found that women in the follicular phase showed measurably higher performance on tasks involving verbal fluency, spatial reasoning, and complex problem solving compared to other cycle phases. The same study also showed improvements in memory consolidation during this window. In practical terms, this is when you're running on upgraded neural hardware. Your processing speed is faster. Your learning capacity is higher. You're more creative, more adaptable, and more emotionally resilient. If you've been trying to start a new habit, pick up a new skill, or take on a challenging project, this is the week to do it. You're not just more capable. You're operating at a fundamentally different cognitive level than you will be 2 weeks from now. But that's just the setup. Around day 12 to 14, your body does something remarkable. A surge in luteinizing hormone, LH, triggers ovulation. Your ovary releases a mature egg, and for about 24 to 48 hours, your entire hormonal profile peaks. Estrogen hits its highest point. Testosterone spikes, and your brain gets a significant dose of dopamine and norepinephrine simultaneously. This is the ovulatory phase. And if you've ever felt inexplicably confident, energized, and socially magnetic for a few days with no explanation, this is why. That hormonal cocktail does something specific. Estrogen and testosterone together increase dominance behavior and approach motivation. You're not just feeling good. You're feeling like you can take up space. Your pain tolerance increases. Your social perception sharpens. You read rooms better. You speak more fluidly. A 2021 study from the University of Cambridge found that women in the ovulatory phase demonstrated significantly higher approach behavior and risk taking in experimental tasks compared to women in other cycle phases. That wasn't luck or confidence theater. It was a measurable, reproducible effect driven by your hormonal environment. Here's where I want to be really clear about something. I'm not saying you should go make massive life decisions based on ovulation. What I'm saying is that you should recognize this window for what it is, a window of peak social intelligence, verbal fluency, and approach motivation, and use it strategically. If there's a difficult conversation you've been avoiding, a presentation that needs to go well, a moment when you need to advocate for yourself, this is the phase when your biology is actually helping you. All right, if this is making sense, hit subscribe because there's one more phase. And this one is the most misunderstood by far. Right after ovulation, your body enters the luteal phase. It lasts roughly 12 to 14 days, and it's dominated by progesterone. As progesterone climbs, it affects neurotransmitter systems in ways that shift your entire mental profile. Progesterone is calming. It binds to GABA receptors in the brain, the same receptors that anti-anxiety medications target, and produces a sedating, stabilizing effect. That means your emotional reactivity decreases. Your baseline anxiety goes up slightly, and your risk tolerance shifts downward. But here's the part nobody talks about. While your approach motivation drops, your pattern recognition and error detection actually improve. A 2023 study from the Journal of Neuroscience tracked 172 women across 3 full menstrual cycles and found that women in the late luteal phase showed significantly heightened activity in brain regions associated with threat detection and error monitoring. They were catching problems that women in other phases were missing. The trade-off is that the same heightened sensitivity makes you more self-critical. You're more aware of problems, including your own flaws, and less likely to give yourself grace about them. It's the worst possible combination. Functionally sharper, emotionally more fragile. And that's why the luteal phase gets such a bad reputation. But here's the reframe that changes everything. That sensitivity isn't a bug. It's data. The things you notice during the luteal phase, the relationship problems you've been overlooking, the work issue that's been building, the boundary you keep failing to set. Those observations are usually accurate. You're seeing clearly. You're just not feeling safe enough to act on it. So instead of pushing through the luteal phase like it's an obstacle, use it differently. This is your review phase. The follicular phase builds and creates. The ovulatory phase executes and connects. The luteal phase evaluates and plans. It is the most strategically valuable phase in the entire cycle. You just have to know how to use it. So here's what you're walking away with. Your cycle isn't 4 random events happening to you every month. It's an integrated system with its own logic. Menstruation strips you down. Follicular builds you back up. Ovulation piques your confidence and connection. Luteal reviews and corrects. Each phase has a purpose. Each one has a strength. And when you stop fighting your biology and start working with it, everything changes, including how you plan your weeks, make decisions, and spend your energy. If you found this useful, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe. I've got more content like this coming next week. Take care.